So let's start, I guess, innit? That's pretty much how everything looks in Dover. So we are in Bratislava right now. As you can see, this is an amazing view. So as you can see, we are on snow, finally. Honestly, I can't believe it. It says in here that all of my four wheels are underinflated in the distance between the wheel. Right guys, so we're gonna start our journey in Europe. It's gonna be quite a long one. Straight ahead should be about 2,400 kilometers, so it's gonna be quite a few miles. What we're gonna start as the mileage, as you can see here, we already have 3,800 the mileage on at the moment, and that's since we actually bought the car. And I have 24,882 kilometers the total mileage, so it's gonna be quite interesting to find out what's gonna be the mileage when we get back. And on top of that, the consumption at the moment for the last 3,000 miles, well, almost 4,000 miles, is 37.1. Now, given the fact that it's gonna be a long journey pretty much just on highway, I assume, and at least I do hope so, the consumption is gonna go to about 40 something. So let's start, I guess, innit? Right guys, so we are in Dover. We got here, the time is 6:44, as you may see. Being very honest with yourself, it took so much because we had like one stop at McDonald's to grab something and eat, and then I also stopped in a parking to have about half an hour nap. So as I was saying, usually it takes about 5 hours the journey. Now let's take a little bit of a look at the consumption. So we had an average of 46 miles per hour with a 49.5 miles per gallon, again UK gallons, which to be honest with you was quite all right. This actually improved a little bit the overall consumption, which is very good. I'm happy with that. So from Rotherham, which is in Yorkshire, southern Yorkshire, till Dover was 267 miles. Now we had a full, and it's a little bit under half. I do hope so it's not gonna be needed for me to actually refuel again in France, because it's expensive. That's the sole reason. Yeah, so far so good, everything it's all right. I'm gonna have a quick nap again, and I do hope so. Well, actually it will be it's gonna be light outside quite soon, so we will be able to actually shoot a few videos. So yeah, pretty much that's about it. Quite happy with the car. You know, it's not the fact that we actually drove it too much. 267 miles is not much. I mean, if you go London come back, it's gonna be more than that. I'm very eager to find out exactly how it's gonna react to the whole trip to Romania and back, which is pretty much like crossing Europe and coming back. We just got in Port of Dover. We got the car in the ferry, As usually, you do have to be here with at least 45 minutes. I mean, you can be a little bit early, like half an hour, but it's recommended to be with about 45 minutes before the ferry is gonna leave, before departure. What can I say? It's 6 degrees. It's windy. It's not that cold, given the fact again that 6 degrees, but it's windy, as you may expect, well, from Dover. But as you may see in there, that's pretty much how everything looks in Dover. Like from Dover itself, from the port, you can actually see the small mountains, so to speaking, the rocks. So it's gonna be quite interesting. If you guys would like to visit Dover, or if you have the time and the chance, I'll strongly advise you to visit Dover and then Margate and then whatever is next, because it's just beautiful. Everything looks so fine. On the ferry, we spent about £52 and a couple of p, that including also the taxis, that direct ferries actually. So we are in Dunkirk, on Dunkirk, or whatever is the name of it. I don't know if you guys can hear me, it's very, very windy. Most probably you may not be able to hear me. However, it is what it is. I just wanted to show you a beautiful place that I've been lucky enough to visit it a couple of times. What I can tell you for a fact is that during summer, or at least not in winter, it's a very lovely place. Unfortunately, given the fact that it's so windy, it's not really a very nice place to be in right now. Things have changed a little bit. Usually here was a street. So even though the Bray Dunes or something like that it's called, I'm gonna show you the name and the location in the map, where you'll be able to kind of, to be honest, really enjoy a nice walk on the shore pretty much. On top of that, you'll also be able to enjoy, there is like a natural park in there with some dunes and stuff like that. So anyway, it's an amazing place to be. The only thing that I find it a little bit unusual is the fact that since we left in here, right, pretty much the next direction should have been Cologne or Köln, whatever is named. Unfortunately, as we find out, it looks like there's been a change from about like 1 year or 1 year and a half since I've last been there. There is something which is about, can be explained about the same thing as the ULEZ, which is a low emission zone in London as an example. So you do have to buy like some sort of a sticker, like a vignetta, so to speaking. Emission vignetta is not very expensive, as far as I understood. It should be about £6, so not the money is the problem, but the fact that you need to order it first, and after that you will be able to actually enter that whatever area, which makes no sense. Now I thought, you know, Köln being a big city, I thought it's just for big cities, which I guess will kind of make sense, but actually it's for almost all of the big cities in Germany. So pretty much what we had to do was to adapt ourselves, and we're going to stay for the night in a city between Köln and Frankfurt, because pretty much that was the only option in which we could have actually avoid the need of having that thingy. So that low emission zones sticker, again, I'm gonna leave the name in there for you guys to be able to actually see exactly how it's called. I'm not gonna try and pronounce it because my English is not the best, but trust me, my German, it's a lot worse. Anyway, the point being is that make sure when you're going to travel to Germany, you're not going to enter a city. Double check with Waze, double check on internet if that city has some sort of like a low emission zone. Make sure Otherwise, if you actually have that sticker, you may end up in getting fined. I mean, nobody want to pay money for no reason. So yeah, it seems that was the only option for us. It's unfortunate because I will definitely wanted to visit Cologne once again, as it's an amazing city. I've actually been there a couple of times, but I guess it is what it is. This is what I wanted to let you know. You do need to pay that low emissions zone thingy. Again, the name, you're gonna have it in there, otherwise you're gonna end up in paying a fine, so you may want to avoid it. Hopefully we will have a good time in that whatever no-name city. I don't even know where we selected to go. Anywhere, we're gonna be back with that in a bit. Right guys, so we are already in Austria. We haven't actually recorded anything along the way because we was pretty much just driving, and we had a few stops at some auto grills, you know, to eat something. At the moment we already have a little bit over 1,627 kilometers, which works out as being about 1,000 miles since we left Rotterdam. We still have a long way to go, not as much as we did so far, but still gonna be a few miles. So far so good. The car pretty much decent, nothing happened. We just stopped, put some petrol, and that's about it. Now what I want to advise you guys if you're gonna travel in Europe is that there are a few countries in which you do need to pay a vignetta, or you do need to pay, like as an example in Italy and in Spain or in Portugal, you do need to pay a highway tax. But going to the route that we have, which is UK, France, Belgium, Netherlands, Belgium again, Germany, Austria, Hungary, and then Romania, and then the way back, you do need to pay for road tax or vignetta, how is it called, in Austria, and you can actually buy a vignetta at the first petrol station when you cross from Germany to Austria. Now the cost for that, it's about £9 and a couple. It's about £9 or £9 and a couple of p, and that was for 10 days. Even though I'm gonna stay more than that, would have made no sense for me to buy for 1 month, since that was briefly about 27 euros and something. So you know, like £25. It worked out as being cheaper for me to actually buy 2 of them, 10 days each, which kind of makes sense. Money talks. Now for Hungary, there are a few websites out there. For some reason, some of them that are charging more. I mean, it's a business anyway, so I guess, you know, everybody's free to actually charge how much they want. I'm gonna put in the link. I'm gonna put a link in the description below where I bought it. Good price, was about 16 euros and a couple of p's. So with that difference, it worked out like £15 something, which I was quite happy with it, and is for 1 month, which means it's actually cheaper to drive in, well, at least from this perspective, to drive in Hungary than in Austria. However, there is a difference. Regarding the money that we spend on petrol, at the end of the video we are going to have a breakdown of the amounts that we spend. The prices for gas are anywhere between 1.5 to 1.7 euros, which is a lot. It's a little bit more, actually a little bit more expensive than in UK. I guess it is what it is. These guys, they care about environment, and potentially the difference it's in the tax, in the pollution tax or something like that. Yeah, so pretty much that's about it. Just to make you aware of, if you need to go to the toilet once you leave UK, you need to pay. And by that I mean in Belgium, in Germany, where we've stopped, you do have to pay about 70 euro cents. So you make sure you do have some small coins or some cash, so you can actually exchange them, and make sure you will be able to actually use toilet, because in any auto grill or in any petrol station you're gonna stop, they will have that charge. Now what's happening in Germany is that you'll also see some signs where it says P from parking and WC from toilet. Now on those ones, they are free of charge. The only inconvenience is that sometimes they are not that clean, which kind of makes sense. Nobody is actually paying for them a tax, so it's not as cheap to run as an overall cost versus expenses. But anyway, you do find actually a few which are decent enough, and you may as well do your stuff there. In Austria, most of them, they are very clean anyway, but again, you may find some places where you can actually they make you pay the tax or something like that. But for most of them, it's actually free if you stop at the ones where it says again toilet and parking. What I can say is that when I actually mounted the deflectors, strange enough, I haven't actually seen any difference, in the meaning of I've seen the difference, of course, but the beam is not so intense, and so strong on the left side. It's more like neutral now, but it's not like I cannot drive it in that way. Actually, it's quite all right. I can't complain. So just make sure you are going to get those beam deflectors. You can get them from anywhere, Halfords, Amazon, Eurolights websites, and whatever. You do find them in like petrol stations. You also find them if you go by ferry. You'll be able to find them on the ferry. Also make sure you do have like a sticker or a magnet or something like that. So you do make sure you have like a magnet or a sticker where it says GB. In France, you are not going to need an alcohol test, very important, otherwise they will fine you big time. You will also need to drive in Europe like a high V vest, the standard one that people use for warehouses and stuff. And honestly, it kind of makes sense. You do need for other drivers to be able to actually see you. And what you'll need also are those like triangles, so you can post them before your car. And on some of countries such as Romania, they ask you to have like two sets, one in front, one in the back. We are in Bratislava right now. As you can see, this is an amazing view. I mean, I would strongly advise you to actually visit it. what we have in there is the Nube, and then we have a part pretty much of the new Bratislava from the bridge in the left side. Now we have the old one. I hope you guys actually enjoy the view. Trust me, seeing it with your own eyes, it's just beautiful. So here we are driving pretty much on the mountainside. It's bits and bits, in the meaning of you'll see some portions of the road which are actually like frozen, right? There is ice on the road. There are a few portions in parts in which you're not gonna see that. What I can say is that the car is driving very well. It's also a matter, you know, if you're going to drive it in a safe way or not. It's pretty much up to you, but it's stable, handles well. I do hope so we're gonna have the chance to actually check it, how it's actually reacting to snow, like a proper snow. But so far, being here, as I was saying, in the mountainside, and having a few bits of the road being actually having ice on it, gave me the chance to test it. It's quite stable. I had actually a little bit of one person where, you know, it moved a little bit, right? But pretty much one on top of the other, everything is just alright. Yeah, I hope you guys are gonna enjoy the ride. Thank you. see, we're on snow finally. We have set up in here the traction mode being on snow, as you can see, and we're going to test it a little bit and find out exactly if snow mode is actually a difference or not. The way in which you can pretty much understand that is the fact that when it's on snow, it's gonna have the tendency for the wheel to actually spin it in, like just spin it without moving, because, well, it's snow. So pretty much this is gonna allow the car some sort of a motion, because when you have it on a normal mode, if by any chance the wheel is gonna spin by itself, the traction mode is not gonna allow it, but being on a snow mode will allow it, so the car actually has motion. I didn't really expect it for the car to handle that well on snow, honestly. I mean, honestly, I can't believe it. Dacă faci plecarea frumoasă,
n-are treabă.
As you can see, guys, it says in here that all of my four wheels are underinflated, which makes no sense because I've checked them, they're all fine. But it might be given the fact that I changed the tires on all of them that I actually have an issue with it. So it's gonna be try and inflate them a little bit more, you know, put in some more air, but I don't know exactly what's gonna happen. The way in which I got to that screen is by going to driving, and this says in here under inflation initialization, diagnostic, and it says maintenance, it's alright, wheels under inflated, which is not alright, but I'm gonna try and check exactly what's gonna happen. Right before this one, guys, I actually had to change my tires and realign the wheels on the front of the car, because for some reason all along the way my wheels actually weren't aligned correctly, so they use the right wheel very bad, so I pretty much had to change it. Right, so it's time for us to drive back to UK. We're gonna start somewhere around here. And we have on board 43,904 kilometers. Now we do have a lot more stuff in the car, which means it's gonna be a lot heavier. It says in here 440 kilometers. As you can see, it's not full, but we're gonna have a full. Anyway, 3,874 kilometers yet, with a 6.2 liters, 6.2 liters per 100 kilometers, and that's how much we drove since we left UK. Now I'm quite interested, given the change in the weight, how this is actually going to inflict the consumption and how much is gonna go up. But yeah, pretty much that's about it. And we have 9,999 kilometers since I bought the car, at an average consumption of 7. But imagine that pretty much covers most of it being covered in the city. Looking good so far, so good. I only had one problem with one of the tire, but I'm gonna explain that a little bit later on. But yeah, that was the only expense I had with the car so far. Well, as you can see, the car is full, and you can see it in the distance between the wheel. But that's the whole point of a car being useful. Now again, it's going to be quite interesting to find out what's the difference in the consumption Yes, we shall see about that. Still looking very good. Sharp, I can say. I hope he's not gonna start eating. It was on the right side actually. I hope he's not gonna start using the exterior of the wheel again. So what we did, we changed the front wheels and put them on the back. As you may see here, it's a little bit used. This one. Yeah, that's about it. So I have no idea what this is. Oh, so it's actually vignetta. You see this? With Google Lens you can actually translate and says it's a vignetta. Austria most probably. But anyway, this is not fuel cost. Right guys, so if you can see all this, then, well, obviously you can see it, but what it means actually is that it ended up in costing lots of money. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. Right, so pretty much the best way in which you can check exactly how much it costed you something is to put it on paper, or in this case we used Google spreadsheets, and what we got is the following. First things first, this was not cheap. As you may see, just on petrol only, right, it costed us for 383 liters 436 pounds, which is an average per liter of 1 pound and 14p, which is quite of a good price. The reason we have this good price is because in Romania it's very cheap. Pretty much the petrol is very cheap. It's under 1 pound, so it kind of somehow average as being a good amount. However, on top of everything, we also had vignettes, Austria, Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, ferry and hotels, and that's without what we spend on food and stuff like that. So prepare yourself for some other expenses. We had a grand total of 608 pounds and 62p just for petrol and for vignette. We're not talking about the cost of insuring the car, because again that's something else was already included in there. We don't have included the cost of food. It's just the basic needs pretty much. I should have also included, you know, the stuff that I had to align my wheels, but you know that's an additional cost, and that's not something that should pop up for you know, for everybody. That might be even if you run it in here in UK. So yeah, it's been expensive but also totally worth it. Now guys, the real question will be here and now, and it's gonna be asked like this: is it worth it? Was it worth it? Yes. It really depends how you look at it, in the meaning of, if you're looking at it just money-wise and how tired you can be for the whole journey and for having to drive like 2, 3, 4 days in order to make the most of it, I would say if everything at the bottom comes just to that for you, definitely not worth it. You're gonna get very tired, and you also need to make sure you're gonna plan your trip in advance, making sure once you're gonna leave UK you are going to catch the ferry in time, and also making sure you're gonna have everything prepared for the road, such as knowing exactly where you're gonna get vignettes, how much they're gonna cost you, also having the money needed for the whole journey. As you've seen, going to Romania and back actually ended up in costing 608 pounds just for, you know, the basic stuff without including food and other stuff. As I was saying, even going to toilet is costing you about 75 euro cents, or actually 70 euro cents. So, you know, it keeps on adding up, adding up. If you go and eat at an auto grill, it's costing you at least 12 pounds each. If you really want to have something that's, you know, it's gonna make you full. So, one on top of the other again, if you're looking just at how tired you're gonna be versus the experience itself, at least for me, really made sense. It's not the first time when I'm doing the whole journey, the whole road ride, but honestly, it's just great. I'll do it again over and over. It's just I don't really have the time, and you know, if you think even at the money that you spend, and on top of that, the world is so big that's definitely worth it in trying something new. I will say I've done this about 4 times ish. Really loved it each time. Now going back to the car, which pretty much if you want to do this, you need to be driving a very reliable car. Fortunate for me, this Peugeot 2008 was good enough. No issues with it. The only thing is that, as I was saying, the alignment of the wheels, of the front wheels, weren't done, and that was my fault. I should have checked that before actually going to such, you know, a long trip. But again, if you're not careful, you're gonna pay the price. It wasn't expensive, but still, it might have had ended up in costing more. What I would strongly suggest you guys, before having some sort of a trip like this, a long trip, go and check your car before that. I was pretty confident on the checks I did, but again, I did it on my own risk. I checked the oil, I checked, you know, pretty much anything. I took a look under the car, but your car being checked by professionals, I would say is totally worth it. I would strongly advise you to do so. So if you guys want to leave some comments down below on what do you think about the whole journey, if you will do it, if you did it, how much it costed you, what is your opinion on the car itself, what is also your opinion on everything that, you know, I did and how I covered everything. If you will have had a better, let's say, option in which you could have done it. Now, don't say plain, because it's kind of obvious. So yeah, if you want to like, subscribe, share the video, we really gonna love some support in there. Thank you so much for watching the video. I know it's such a long one, it's like a documentary about China. Even longer than that, but I do hope so, guys, I actually enjoy it, and I do hope so you found it useful. Bye bye now.